Clearing firms they handle what we call the back office operations. Once a trade is entered into, they're the ones that carry out the trade. They handle the receipt of funds, the delivery of securities, and the confirmation that the trade is complete. The question is, what happens if the investor is engaged in some type of wrongdoing? In this case, the investor is the hedge fund Bayou. And if the broker knows of this wrongdoing, there are certain obligations that it has to stop the wrongdoing. Well, what makes this particular case interesting is, well, procedurally first, you had an arbitration ruling which has held Goldman Sachs liable. Right? The theory under which they're being held liable is pretty much predicated on the fact that there's some indications that Goldman was actually aware that there was something wrong at Bayou with regards to their trading strategies. In this case, it was a Ponzi scheme. Now, when there's actual knowledge of wrongdoing, then there is the ultimate anti-fraud liability rules that apply, what we call Rule 10b-5. And the question is whether or not Goldman, as a clearing firm, even though traditionally clearing firms are free from liability, did have a responsibility of saying something because they actually had actual knowledge of the wrongdoing. What is unclear, and the case will have to be litigated in court, is what is the evidence of that wrongdoing? Did Goldman really have actual knowledge? Was it merely a suspicion? Things of that nature. So that we do not know. But if the facts indicate that Goldman knew there was something going on at Bayou, they had direct contact with Bayou, then I think there's actually a true risk of liability. It does have broader implications because traditionally clearing firms do not have any obligations to monitor the activities of their clients. They are free of liability. They're service providers. If with any type of decision where a clearing firm is found to be held liable, and in this case I believe Goldman Sachs it's over $20 million in liability, suddenly every firm that provides these types of clearing services will be very frightened that they too may be found liable. They'll have to invest more in compliance activities. They'll have to spend more on monitoring what their investors are doing. And this in turn will raise the costs of providing clearance services. Clearance services is a highly profitable part of the industry. It's a relatively straightforward activity that they're handling, but they get to charge a nice fee for it. So you're pretty much waking up this very sleepy area of the financial services industry and suddenly saying, you guys now have to be very aware of what's going on, something that they traditionally have not done.